and welcome to the Stock Planner channel. It's Sunday and I'm doing my weekly review. Last week I did some predictions, and that's what you're supposed to do as a trader. You have to predict at least a market direction. And I'll tell you, no one can really predict what the market's going to do. Anyway, what I said last week was that the SPY, the S&P 500, the Qs, the techs stocks, and the Russell 2000, the Russell 2000, which is the ETF IWM, they were all going to go short. And that was very true until Friday. Friday we had an up day. Now, whether this is going to continue in a downwards or we're at the bottom and we're going to go now and reverse and go up, that's what I need to decide before my trading week starts. And this is what I'm going to attempt to do with this review, playing out my trades for next week. So before we get started, I want to say that the Stock Planner channel has been in operation for about a year. We're fairly new. We're steadily gaining subscribers. We're an education channel. We're swing traders. Swing traders, we're holding our trades for anywhere from 3 days to 90 days. And I have a couple of leaps long-term trades as well, which I'm holding more than a year. And once in a while, we'll take a neutral trade. Like last week, I thought the copper would actually trade in within a range and wouldn't trade further where it was, and that was true. Anyway, last week's guesses, I ended up with a 62%, 63% win rate. And you know, if I was going to casino, I could win blackjack at that percentage, and I was a good trader, a good gambler, I'd love that win rate. Anyway, you have some wins and losses, but I think you can gain in the stock market if you can generally pick the overall market direction. The popular traded stocks are right here. Apple was correct. It's going to trade in a range. And Microsoft, where's Tesla? Right there. Said it was going to be short, and that was a win. NVDA, neutral. Yep, I think there was some loss there, but it gained on Friday. Then we have the ETFs that I trade, and then the three sectors: healthcare, techs, and real estate. Let's see what sectors we'll trade this week. 62%, 63% win rate. So let's get started. Remember, each of you traders should be doing this each week, picking an overall market direction, and then trading within that direction, which means you must do your own due diligence. Okay, let's get started. We're going to look at FinViz first. FinViz is free, and it's a wonderful place to start reading and learning about stocks, especially if you're a beginner. This is the heat map. 1 day performance. This is what you want to see. You want to see green if you're a bull. I'm not a bull at the moment. I think we're going to slip into recession if we're not already in a recession, and I'm bearish. So I felt a little pain on Friday, but I've had 3 wonderful weeks and probably made the most money that I've made in the last 2 or 3 years in these last 3 weeks. Terrifically happy, just not Friday. 1 week there, we're starting to see some red creep in, especially for the big boys, Microsoft, Tesla, Apple, and then 1 month. There we go. Oil looks good. Healthcare looked good. The Dow, NASDAQ, and the S&P 500 all were up better than 2 percentage points. Wow, that's a really green screen. Looking at the groups, the 1 week performance, things are looking up for the week. Consumer cyclical seem to have done well, but for the month, not so good. Week, good. Month, not so good. On Friday, I took a small position in Tesla. I thought it was going to come around and went long. So I think the sectors that I would like to look at and focus on will be consumer cyclical, technology, again, because I think it's going to go short yet, and real estate. I think those are short, and I'm going to not look at healthcare, dropping that off. Real estate, technology, and consumer cyclical. It's still early on Sunday, so we can't really say nothing about the futures. We'll see what we're open. I do have a short position on the RUT, a small short position on gold, and a small short position on the Aussie dollar. And I took that short position on the Aussie dollar at the end of the day, thinking that we had a long green candle and that it was going to be some pullback. And so we'll see. That market opens at 6 o'clock this evening on Sunday. We'll see what happens. Kind of like a mean reversion trade for Aussie dollar. In other words, the long green candle, and I thought it was going to revert back to this mean. These are all small positions. In a few minutes, I'll be talking about crude oil. I think it's going to get down to $60 a barrel. So trying to pick the market direction for the S&P 500 and for the year of 2022, I would say you have to say that's a downtrend, overall downtrend. This is every bar here is a day's worth of data. And so there's been some consolidation here. Is it going up or going down? So the prevailing trend is down, and I'm going to stick with that for the week. Same with the NASDAQ. Prevailing trend is down. You can see that. You don't need any indicators for that. The RUT, which is what I've been trading quite vigorously, that prevailing trend is down yet, and I'm sticking with that. And I don't trade much on the Dow, but there's been looking like there's consolidation, and people look for that consolidation when they're thinking that we're going to have a breakout either to the upside or the downside, and you'll have to decide that that's called trading. Looking at gold in TradingView, which is another free charting package, good place for beginners to start and set your indicators. My indicators are listed in the description below. This is the MACD, and this is the RSI, and this is the MACD. Prevailing trend is up. You can turn on the zigzag indicator, which is not an indicator at all. You can't really trade with that, but because it looks at future data, but it gives you a visual of where the direction is, and that direction looks for gold looks to be up. We don't need that on there. You can just look, but some people like to have the indicator. Friday, gold zoomed, but I think there's going to be a pullback, and so at the end of the day, I took a position short, even though I feel like it's going long, and I took that position on the micro mini gold futures. And if you have a small account, but you need about $1,000, but $1,000 at least in margin to trade this. But it doesn't go against your day trade limit, which you need an account size of $25,000. So if you have a small account, you could day trade the gold futures, and that's what I did. And I think it's going to come back and pull back down to the 1833 level. During a recession, the need for energy diminishes. And for this reason, I think that energy stocks will probably end up going lower in general. The XLE is an energy ETF, and I feel that that direction is going to be a short. If you want to play the actual oil price, you can do that with the micro E-minis and not count against your day trade limit. And I think it's going back down to about 60. So I think I'm overall short for oil and overall short for energy. Silver is going up. I think that's a general direction, but there has been over the last 2 weeks a lot of consolidation for silver. And that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to be neutral on silver, long on gold, short on energy. And let's look at copper. Ooh, last week I was neutral and I was wrong. Basically, apparently that's not more than 6 or 8% from where it was. So I'm going to go short, again, based on this long candle for the last 2 days. And I'm going to say short for the week. Mean reversion. In other words, I'm not buying Friday. I think Friday was just one day. I think the next 2 or 3, I don't see anything that looks positive for the next two months. Politics, supply chain, inflation, Ukraine. I don't see China. I just seen that Jack Ma of Alibaba have left the country. Was hanging out in Thailand. I don't know how much that is true. I need to do a little more reading. I've asked my wife, she's Chinese, to get the information for me. Well, you can see that Alibaba is zooming, and that's the hopes that China is going to relax its tight-fisted grip on Baba, which the news article says it would. We had some consolidation. When people see that, when traders see that, they're expecting a breakout, and that's surely what has happened. Now, whether that breakout will continue, and what most breakouts in this environment will fade. So you could either fade the stock or think it's going to continue on up. Generally, I think it's going up. The RSI is in the overbought situation, and there might be some pullback. MACD crossover, but it's at a zero line. I don't usually like to take those. Last week I said it was going long. It surely did. this week I think I might go short for 1 week. Last week I said Amazon might go long. It ended up long, just barely. It looks like it's more of a consolidation, and that's what I'm going to say, neutral. Last week the call was Google was long. It was a loser. I'm going long this week as well, based on the MACD crossover below the zero line. I like that, and we're heading into earnings. RSI in its overbought situation. I don't really like Meta that much. It is going up generally. Overall, the trend seems to be up. I'm going to say it's going to trade in a range from here. Overall downtrend. Apple's in a slump. Calling it neutral. Maybe it bottomed out, maybe not. I think it's going to trade in this area here. So I'm going neutral for Microsoft. Tesla, the prevailing trend is definitely down. It seems like there's some consolidation. On Friday late, I went long for a small trade. Crossover a few days ago on the MACD, zero lag MACD, and we had an oversold situation about 3 or 4 days ago. So I don't know. If you bought Tesla up here and holding, that's somebody is losing a lot of money. And a lot of people are holding for the long term and have lost 40-50% of their portfolio. I also know somebody that only has Tesla in their portfolio, holding long for retirement. Pain. Looking at the EMA of the RSI, you can see that that's pretty much staying steady. And looking at the zero line of the MACD, and we're seeing that it's hanging pretty much at that level. And so I think Netflix is going to be trading in this area for quite some time. And if we have a recession, you can say that people are going to watch TV more and add more to their Netflix, and Netflix will do better. But I think they're going to start reducing the cost of Netflix. Cut this out, cut that out. So I do think that Netflix is going to trade within a range, so I'm neutral on Netflix. In other words, I think it'll stay within a 6% trading range from where it's at now. Everybody's trading PLTR. Consolidation, I'm trading neutral. AMD, I'm continuing short or neutral. I'll say neutral for this week, but generally the prevailing trend is neutral, or is short, but it seems like there's some consolidation, and we'll play it that way if I so choose to do it. I had just taken off an AMD trade with a small win. That trade came off on Friday. It was an option trade. Ford, I'm generally long on. NEO, I bought at 40. Where's 40? Oh my God. Up in here somewhere. And I have 100 shares of NEO at around 36 or 40, which means, get your calculator out, I lost 2/3 of that investment. Is it going up or going down? I think NEO is long based on a crossover of the MACD and the RSI. Consolidation, you'd call this neutral, but I'm calling it long. Lots of people trading Intel. Looks like it might be long. We had a RSI oversold, and it had a crossover of the MACD. INTC has been beaten down for a long time. And nobody's favorite, Disney, but it's highly tradable. I said last week that it would go short, but I was wrong. Now it's in the overbought situation. I'm going short again. I could be wrong. I think the prevailing trend is down, and I think that Disney has a lot of troubles. Boy, they go to Disneyland for a family of 4. It is really, really overpriced to stand in hour-long lines. I'm not sure that sounds like fun. Short on Disney. And now I'll update my spreadsheet and put my findings. And I still haven't changed last week's date because this spreadsheet starts on the 9th. And if I change the date now, all this will get errors. I don't have error checks in it. So I'll do that Monday, change it to the 9th, and then track it from there. But if, based on last week's picks, I would have currently are sitting at 62%, about the same as it was before. Now we're going to look at the global ETFs and then the 3 sectors that I might focus on. Looking at FXI on the daily time frame, we have a downside and an upside. FXI last week, I said it was going up, and it surely did, but it seems to be consolidating now. MACD is showing that upside. The EMA for the RSI is showing, pointing up the up direction, although the RSI, it seems to hit about the 80 and maybe overbought. I'm going to switch FXI to neutral. Is China opening up? What did they do with Jack Ma, Alibaba? Is Kova coming back? I'm not so sure. My wife's hoping that China will be open up because she'd like to visit her relatives and do a little doctor care as far as practice. She's a practicing eye surgeon. Brazil, there's a lot of turbulence going on politically, and this looks a little difficult to trade. I'm going to go neutral for Brazil. It's one of my favorite stocks, though, but I like it to be directional. It seems like you had a lot of neutral stuff going on about 3 or 4 months ago. I was short, and it was short in the earlier part of the week, and then flipped. My short prediction for EWZ was wrong. I'm changing it to neutral. Emerging markets, I had a short prediction, and I was wrong. I'm changing it to a neutral. Looking at the real estate sector, and looking at an ETF, Vanguard ETF for real estate, I'm saying this should go short. I had a short prediction for last week, and obviously I lost. I'm maintaining that short prediction. And by the way, these predictions, anybody can do them. You pick a direction that you want to go in, and if your conditions show themselves, you take a trade in that direction. I do believe that you can predict overall trends using a chart. I do not predict what will happen tomorrow based on what a candlestick of yesterday, but I do believe that you can predict trends. In real estate, the trend is down. And if I had, which I did not have a trade in real estate, I would have lost money on that prediction of last week. But I'm still maintaining that prediction. If something shows itself, I'm going to take it. In other words, if the market on Monday looks to be down, that might be right for real estate. Higher interest rates is not going to bode well for the real estate market. Zillow, a new way of selling real estate. I had it neutral, and it traded within a range, but I'm showing it a win, so that means it didn't go beyond 6%. But now I'm going to show a short. I think this stock is going down. It's based in the oversold condition of the RSI. This is not telling me nothing, and I just think we're in for a pullback. And besides, I'm overall bearish on the real estate market. The MACD is hanging on the zero line, and that's showing the same thing. We're doing a lot of consolidation. This is tough to trade. I am overall short on the real estate. This company has self-storage and hotels. Long green bar. I would go mean reversion, especially there's some sort of support here. Mean reversion, and I'm going to say short for the week. And I'll annotate my spreadsheet. And then I have that spreadsheet ready to go when it's time to make decisions on trade. Again, I'm overall short on the XLK ETF, which is technology. I had a green bar on Friday. Everybody did well. I'm still negative to neutral. And I'm going to say I'm going to play text as a neutral. And that goes for Meta, which I have discussed previously. And we'll look at BIDU. BIDU happens to be a China stock as well. We got beaten down, and then we had this slow, steady grind up. And then the jump and consolidation. Overbought condition for the RSI, and the MACD is pointing up. Looking at BIDU to hold this area and be hanging around, so I'm going to call this as a neutral. 6 to 7% either way, and I don't know which way. So that would call maybe an iron condor, iron butterfly, a broken wing butterfly, calendar spread. Those are all neutral plays, or a neutral play with some sort of bias. And the bias would have to be up. Going into TradingView and using their scanner, I select consumer durables, consumer non-durables to get those consumer cyclical stocks that I'm looking for. I select the watch list that I have all the current stocks that I'm interested in, and I flag it all one color, orange. I select the flag orange. See, these are the stocks that are of my current interest. And then I select orange, and then using that filter, the sectors I'm interested in, I just mentioned, only interested in U.S. stocks that trade on the U.S. market, and I get 9 matches from my list. Tesla is the one I told you I just bought at the end of the day, and the RSI, I could scan the RSI, high RSIs, which would mean it's sell the Heinz. So I said that I might want to short that because the RSI is in its overbought condition. Estee Lauder, that's a good one too. Possible short. I don't want to short Ford. I think I mentioned I want to go long on that. And these are neutral. I've been playing BTI, British American Tobacco Company. I've been playing that a lot. And that is a neutral play. And inverse, it's saying that Tesla might have been oversold based on its RSI. And you can do various different slices, in a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different indicators that you could use. You're making sure that this is on the daily. You can also do it on the weekly, but I want the daily. NIO could be a buy. So I'll keep my eye out on Tesla and NIO as buys. That makes sense. Both electric vehicle companies for long. And I do like these two for a possible short-term short. When everybody's buying, that's the time maybe you get to think about a short. KHC and EL as shorts. So that's the ones I'll keep my eye out on, and I'll annotate my spreadsheet. So I've updated my spreadsheet. I still kept last week's date there. I'm going to change that on Monday. But using last week's data, the start date, the open of last week, and using that, my predictions for this week, or guesses, and every trader should do this effort to get your percentage to be correct. I'm guessing at about 58 to 60, let's just say 60%. And last week's guesses were 62% is what my result was. Using the right risk-reward ratios, where you win more when you win than you lose, you have a very good winning system with that percentage if that's the result. We don't know, and we'll have to wait till next Sunday to find out. Stop the video if you need to know what my predictions are. Well, what do you think? Is next week going to be a positive week or a negative week? We certainly could have 2 days, 3 days of happiness and optimism, but I do think the overall market is still in a downtrend, and certainly by the next 2 or 3 months, and certainly by the second quarter, we should be really, I think, in a recession. I've been doing some reading. Europe is certainly going to be in a recession. Great Britain is currently, I believe, and Germany will follow. Anyway, leave your comments below. Please like and subscribe. Happy trading. Have you set your plan for next week? You need to do that. And if you have a plan, you'll win. We'll catch you on the flip.